In 1923, two scientists at the University of Toronto sold the patent for insulin to the university for $1. Frederick Banting and Charles Best wanted to ensure that no corporation could ever stand between a patient and the medicine they needed to survive. Today, that intent has been erased. This $300 price tag reflects the typical cost for a single vial of insulin in the United States. When you subtract the $2 it costs to actually manufacture the medicine, you're left with a $298 gap. For 1.9 million Americans with type 1 diabetes, paying that markup is mandatory. Their bodies produce no insulin at all, meaning they face a physical shutdown within days of their last dose. This is inelastic demand. You cannot choose to skip the purchase because the product is your life support. Maintaining a nearly 15,000% markup on a century-old discovery requires a specific set of economic and legal conditions. The industry has spent decades ensuring those conditions remain favorable to their bottom line. Alex Smith was 26 years old, earning $12 an hour, and newly ineligible for his mother's health insurance. Without that coverage, his monthly insulin costs jumped to over $1,000. To make his supply last until he could find a way to pay, he began rationing his doses. He died from diabetic ketoacidosis less than a month after his insurance coverage ended. In a market where survival is the product, the only absolute limit on a price tag is the physical endurance of the patient. That $300 price is maintained by an industry of middlemen called pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs. Three companies, CVS Caremark, Express Scripts, and Optum Rx, control the prescription drug benefits for over 270 million Americans. PBMs decide which drugs are covered through a list called a formulary. To get insulin on that list, manufacturers pay secret rebates directly to PBMs. Because these rebates are a percentage of the list price, PBM revenue increases whenever the manufacturer raises the price. The entities hired to negotiate lower costs for patients are structurally rewarded for higher prices. Every time the price at the pharmacy counter goes up, the middleman's profit grows. Most drugs eventually become cheap because pharmaceutical patents are supposed to expire after 20 years, allowing competitors to flood the market with generics. Insulin stayed expensive because the big three manufacturers utilized a strategy called evergreening. By filing new patents on cosmetic changes, like a new dial on an injection pen or a slightly different concentration, they successfully reset the 20-year legal protection clock over and over again. This effectively blocked generic competition for a century, turning a common medicine into a permanent monopoly. To protect these monopolies, the pharmaceutical industry spent $652 million on federal lobbying in a single year, more than defense, oil, or technology companies. That investment resulted in the 2003 Non-Interference Clause. This law specifically barred Medicare from using its massive scale to negotiate lower drug prices with manufacturers. These lobbying efforts effectively removed the public's primary defense against price gouging, making it illegal for the government to negotiate with the very industry that funded their campaigns. In Germany, Canada, and Australia, governments either cap drug prices or negotiate them directly. In those countries, that same vial of insulin costs between $7 and $30. This price gap is why Americans now organize social media convoys to drive across international borders. These medical refugees are forced to travel to Canada just to purchase a century-old medicine at a price they can afford. The United States has the manufacturing capacity and the scientific knowledge to make insulin affordable. The current crisis is a policy choice that prioritizes the financial health of three corporations over the survival of 2 million citizens. The names on these signs provide the evidence of what this system costs: Alex Smith, Shane Patrick Boyle, and Tavia Worsham. All of them died while attempting to navigate the price of their own survival. When drug companies recently announced $25 generic versions of their insulin, they proved they could have lowered prices at any time over the last 40 years. Those caps were not an act of charity, but a response to mounting public pressure and political risk. The machine that turned insulin into an extortion tool was built piece by piece, law by law. Dismantling it requires a public that understands exactly how the middleman, the patent office, and the lobbyist work together to put a price on human life.